There is a popular saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters.
We spend a lot of time developing our professions, but we don't spend time developing ourselves. Look, as a leader, as a professional, you have to grow. You have to grow yourself. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. So we are bringing you this special studies based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And we're going to just spend time with you and help you go through the principles that you need to be able to grow your person, to become a better person. Because if you become a better person, you become a better leader, you become a better father, you become a better professional. Do not miss this opportunity, as the masterclass is going to be very practical and discussional. It is going to be a limited number of people. So please register now to be part of the program.
Good evening and welcome to the leadership platform. I'm Samuel Eyim. Kofi, let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, because I don't know if it's technical or from my end, I can't see myself. Can anybody confirm that they can see me?
Yes, we can see you, Sam. We can see you.
You can see me. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yes, but now that Sarah is gone, I can't see myself, but that's great. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to the leadership platform. I thank God that we are around the table this evening, and I am very excited and very expectant because the topic we are going to discuss this evening is really, really important. In fact, in my own view, this is probably the beginning of leadership. And so I want to encourage everyone. Somebody has written, we cannot see Mr. Eyim. Is everything okay? So I don't know if you can see me now because I can't see myself. So please confirm if you can see me. All right. Great. So I can be seen. All right. Thank you very much. So I believe that this evening is going to be very exciting because the subject we are going to discuss is absolutely important. So please introduce yourself and let us know where you are coming from. We know that so many of you meet me in town and say, oh, I was on the leadership platform. I just don't introduce myself. Very often you say people should introduce themselves, but I don't. But guys, I'm excited to see you introduce yourself, and it is my joy to introduce you to the world that you are on the leadership platform. So kindly introduce yourself if you're connected so I can introduce you to the world. I also want to encourage you to share. This particular topic is so important. Even at this moment, please share, like our page, and subscribe to our YouTube. Share, forward, invite people to the platform right now, this moment, because we have an amazing opportunity to seize, to be able to make our voices count, because that for me is the beginning of leadership. This is where leadership begins. Leadership is influence. Now, we as human beings have so many rights and privileges. One of the fundamental rights of every human being is the right to speak, the right to share your views and your opinions. And somebody has said the right to speak is probably the most important of all rights, because people talk about the right to health, the right to freedom, the right to eat, the right to economic, whatever. And the point is that no matter what right you have, if you don't have the right to speak, if you are hungry and you don't have the right to say you are hungry, who is going to feed you? If you are sick and you don't have the right to say you are sick, if you are oppressed and you don't have the right to say you are oppressed, if your leaders, our political leaders, have a responsibility to us and we don't have the freedom to speak up and share our views of what they need to do for us, then all other rights are meaningless. So the right to speak is so important. Again, as leaders, we are influencing, and the ability to influence principally comes from our communication, our ability to speak up. Yes, it also comes from our actions, but very often you're communicating vision. Those of you who read the Bible says in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word is God. Now, the Word is God is so potent. The word that you speak has the power to create. What are you creating with your words? What impact are you making with your words? This is what we are going to share this evening, and we're going to learn how you can communicate your convictions, your ideas in a way that make them relevant. And we have an amazing, and I'm excited with the speaker we have this evening, because I know he's going to do justice to this subject, and we are going to learn. I'm ready to learn. I've seen his slides, and I think we're going to learn really a lot this evening. So before I say a quick word about the speaker, let me just announce those of you who have introduced yourself. Ebenezer Niama is here. Kokuvi Antoine is here. Chasni Odoy is here. Poku Nathan T.S. is here. Mark Tony is here. Joseph Giles is here. Oh, that's Bill is here. And Ebenezer Yabuatufo is here. Enoch Ahin is here. Doris Atta is here. Mami Bafu is here. And many more people are joining. So thank you all for joining. The person who is going to speak to us is a great guy. He's a great communicator. He's been around for a very long time, speaking and teaching. He's used to present the news in GTV, and he is currently actually he's a communication expert. He's the executive director of the Media Center of the Heritage Christian College, which is Truth TV. He helped set up the TV station for the university, which is doing fantastic work. The Truth TV, propagating truth, teaching things about life and things that students need and young people need. He's a great mentor of young people himself. He's a lecturer also in communication in Cape University, Heritage Christian University, and he is the administrative secretary for the Corporate Affairs Directorate of the United Nations Association in Ghana. He's currently reading his PhD in Business Administration, Communication, and Media, and from the Open University of Malaysia. He holds a Master of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication from India, and a bachelor's degree in English. His English is so good. I like Conrad's English. Conrad has taught communication skill at Jimpa School of Business and the Faculty of Law for 4 years. He worked with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, as I said, as a reporter, newscaster, editor, program producer, and host and commentator for 7 years. He was adjudged Ghana's best journalist in political reporting in 2013 and was a finalist for the best TV male newscaster in 2014-2015. Conrad is also the CEO of Corrado Group of Companies in media, public relations, editing, public speaking, training, communication, and has consulted for different institutions and businesses, including the University of Ghana, School of Languages Department, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, the Ministry of Finance, Ideal College, and so on. So if you need consultancy in communication, please contact Conrad, and you will not be disappointed. On this note, I want to give the floor to Conrad Kakraba to speak to us on making your voice count as a leader. All right, Conrad, I'm excited. And people are excited. They want to listen to you. So take us away.
All right. Thank you very much, my boss. Mr. Samuel Kumi Eyim is my boss. He's the chairman of our university council. And so I'm very excited to be hosted on this enviable platform. It's a platform that brings very seasoned people, leaders. And I was wondering how seasoned I was to make it the second time to speak on this platform. And so I'm very, very excited to be here this evening. I thank the Center for Transformational Leadership for this unique program that is impacting lives, that is opening minds, that is transforming hearts, and also charging people up for great things in leadership in various spheres that they find themselves. Today, I'd like us to focus on, as Mr. Eyim said, a very crucial topic, a topic that is going to help us all to be able to raise our voices, no matter how small they are, in different aspects of our lives. Wherever you find yourself, we want your voice to count. We want you to be a leader who is not afraid to say what you have to say, what you ought to say. And that is why today we are talking on this particular topic, how successful leaders make their voice count. How successful leaders make their voice count. I'm quoting from some people who have made their voices count. And one of them that inspires me so much is Martin Luther King Jr. He's an American. He was an American civil rights activist. And a very important quotation that he actually left behind was, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. this is very instructive. It's telling us one thing, that there are a lot of things that matter, a lot of things that a society needs, a lot of things that your church, your organization, your association, your country, wherever it is that you find yourself, your home, your club, your school, there are a lot of things that matter. And if we are silent about those things, then our lives begin to end that very day. So we must speak up. We must make our voice count. And this is one of my favorite quotations as well from Edmund Burke. He was a British politician. He says, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. If you're a good person, a good man, a good woman, you are supposed to do something in order to end things that you think are not right in your sphere of influence. And today we are going to learn about how to do that. And Ralph Waldo Emerson also says something that is very, very instructive. The purpose of life is not to be happy, not just to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it made some difference that you have lived and lived well. So basically, your purpose in life, my purpose in life, our purpose in life is not just to excite ourselves and to live lives that would just make us happy, but to be useful, for us to be honorable, for us to be compassionate, and to make a difference that we actually lived on this earth. So at the end of our lives, we should be asking ourselves, have we been useful? Have we been honorable, compassionate? Have we made a difference that we lived after all? At the end of your tenure as a leader in your organization, in your church, you should be asking yourself, what difference did I make? What is my contribution? Winston Churchill, one time British Prime Minister, also said something that is very instructive. What is the use of living if it be not to strive for noble causes and to make this muddied world a better place for those who will live in it after we are gone? That's a very critical question that we need to reflect on. What is the use of living if it is not for us to strive for noble causes, to make this muddied world a better place for those who will live in it after we are gone? So after you're gone, if you've not made where you have been a leader a better place, then you haven't led at all. And it's quite critical for us to learn something about that. And then Condoleezza Rice, one time Secretary of State of the United States, also said that great leaders never accept the world as it was and always work for the world as it should be. So the world is in a certain way. There are things that are in a certain way in your organization, your association, your club, your school, wherever you find yourself. And you must always challenge the status quo. You know, the status quo, the word status quo is from a Latin phrase which means the mess we are, the mess we are. And we don't want to leave the mess the way we came to meet it. We need to make sure that it is bettered. And this one inspiring religious leader, Martin Luther, the German Martin Luther, he was one who led the Reformation. He was one whose towering figure actually defines the Reformation movement, a movement in religious world or in church history that has accounted for several people seeing the light, several people having their scales fall from their eyes to see things, truths that were in the Bible that all of us today admire. And he says something that you are not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you do not say. So if you need to say something, say it, because if you do not say it, you are also responsible for what you have not said. It's very critical for you to know what to say and to say it at the time that you ought to say it, because if you don't say it, the responsibility lies on your head. The same Martin Luther said something that I'm very, very happy about. The fact that when he was brought before, religious leaders, people who he was trying to let them see some light, he was accused of several things, and he was asked to recant, which means to deny what he has said, the things that he had written. And then he said this at the closing comments. He said, I cannot and I will not recant anything. For to go against conscience is neither right nor safe. Here I stand, I can do no other. So help me God. This was a man here who was coming against powerful religious leaders, powerful religious forces, people who didn't want certain things to be known, certain things to come out for people to understand them, to believe them, to worship God in a free environment. And then he was asked to do something that was against his will. He said, no way. And this, at that time, it was punishable by death if you do not recant certain things that you were asked or you were accused of. And this man stood up, and because of him, several people, I mean, myself, I'm a beneficiary of this light that he was able to shed on the word of God. And there is another quotation that I love so much, which would also define our study tonight. Leadership is finding your voice, and not just finding it, but inspiring others to find their voice and empowering people and executing actions that get the world better. So that is some of all that I've been saying. Leadership is finding your voice and inspiring others to find their voice and empowering people and executing actions that get the world better. And one critical book that talks a lot about finding voice, is written by Stephen Covey. And before that particular book, he wrote one book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, over 30 million copies sold. And in that particular book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is very, very popular, habit 1, he talks about being proactive, taking responsibility for your life, and then not leaving it for others to just control, and make sure that whatever you're doing, you see the end from the beginning. That's habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Define your mission and your goals in life and try to follow through them. Habit 3, put first things first. Prioritize and do the most important things first. Habit 4, think win-win. Have an everyone can win attitude. Habit 5, seek first to understand and then to be understood, and listen to people sincerely. And then habit 6, that's synergy. Synergy, which is about work together to achieve more. And then last habit 7, sharpen the saw. That is renew yourself regularly. That's a summary of that particular book. And after that book, he brought out another book, which is the 8th habit. The 8th habit, from effectiveness to greatness. So habit 8 is about find your voice and inspire others to find theirs as well. And in that particular book, this is one of the comments that the author made about that book. The 8th habit then is not about adding one more habit to the 7, one that somehow got forgotten. It's about seeing and harnessing the power of the 3rd dimension to the 7 habits that meet the central challenge of the new knowledge worker age. The 8th habit is to find your voice and inspire others to find theirs. And so he's not just saying that there are habits that you need to be cultivating, and there are several habits, but he's trying to say that no matter the habits that you cultivate that are very instructive, very helpful, that are very instrumental in changing things and all of that, you need to still have something. And that critical thing is about how to find your voice. And then also, apart from finding your voice, inspiring others to find theirs as well, inspiring others to find their voice. And in that particular book as well, there is this quadrant, and the quadrant is about what is our being, the whole person paradigm. And in the whole person paradigm, we have our mind, and our mind is given to us to learn, to grow and develop. And then also our bodies for us to live, to survive, and then also our heart is given to us to love and to have relationships with people. But apart from all of these, we need to leave a legacy. And that's where our spirit comes from. What meaning and contribution are you going to make in this life? Leaving a legacy. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And in that same book, we see the fact that all of us have some passion. What you are deeply passionate about, your heart. So you have something that you want to do, whatever it is, I cannot say, but there is something within you that you are deeply passionate about. That comes from your heart. You may have some talent, what you can be the best in the world at. That comes from your mind and all the things that you have endowed with, and then also you have a conscience. What does your conscience counsel? What's your spirit? And then there is some need. What drives your economic engine? Your body, your need for survival. You need to work, you need to make money, you need to survive, but apart from all of these things, there is your voice, that unique personal significance. You must be asking yourself this evening, what is my voice? What is it that people listen to me about? What is it that people come to me for advice about? What is it about me that people would spend, they would leave anything just to come and hear me speak about that, or to see me do this, or, when I do it, people get inspired, people get motivated, it fulfills the needs of people. That's what we want you to develop today. That is your unique personal significance, and you need to hit it and hit it hard. In that book as well, we have the circles, different circles: circle of control, circle of influence, and a circle of concern. All of us as leaders have a circle of control. We have somewhere, some people, a group of people that we are leading, that we are guiding, people who listen to us. So there is that circle of control where you focus your efforts because you have your control there. And every day, whatever you're doing, that's where you wake up to. Those are the people you meet. Those are the people who you have control over. But apart from that, you as a leader need to also develop your circle of influence. Your circle of influence are people who you don't have direct control over, but you need to expand from your control circle to a circle that you're going to impact upon, that you're going to let your ideas, flow to, that you're going to also let them know what you're doing and how they can also be influenced, or they can benefit from what you're doing. The whole world is about how you can influence people if you're a leader, how you can also let your benefits, let your leadership skills and qualities be benefited by people that are in your circle of influence. And then there is also a circle of concern. That's like the whole nation, or maybe the whole world, and if you are in the circle of influence, you need to avoid focusing here because you don't have too much influence over it. You have to be expanding your circle of influence gradually. And then this circle of concern will be narrowing. And that's what we want to do today. Now, there are some 10 C's for making our voice count. I'm going to use mnemonics, 10 C's, so that you can remember them. And these are C's that are going to define how we as leaders can be successful in making our voice count wherever we find ourselves. The first C is clarity. The first C is clarity. You have to have a clear vision and purpose for your leadership and what you want to stand for. Don't just launch out into the D. Don't just, get into the ABs. You must be clear about what is it that you want people to know you for, to believe you for, to follow you for as a leader, and for you to actually have an influence over them. So that is very clear, that you need to have a vision, a purpose, to sit and do a self-introspection and ask yourself, what is it that I want people to follow me for, to remember me for, to listen to me, about, and then define how to go about attaining those goals. Very important. And focus on getting the results, not just activities. Sometimes we may know where we are going, we may know what it is that we stand for, but sometimes we get so caught up in a lot of activities and a lot of things that, we think that we are busy and we are doing things, that are in line with our purpose, but in fact, they are not in line with our vision. And you always have to be getting back to your vision to ask yourself, am I really following through? Am I really following this purpose and vision? Am I really making any progress? Very important, clarity. The second C, still on that first C, Malcolm X, one of those civil rights activists in the US, said that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And so as a leader, Be clear for what you stand. I mean, clear about what you stand for, and you will not be distracted by other voices because you know what it is that you stand for. And then the second C is competence. Competence. You need to develop yourself in order for you to accomplish your goals, in order to make your voice really count. Focus on what you can do and do it well. Excellence yields opportunity, and get knowledge and information about what you want your voice to count in. So get educated, get on seminars and training programs, listen to the leadership platform, and attend programs that are organized by an engine of training leaders such as the Center for Transformational Leadership, so that you sharpen your soul, you sharpen your skills, become competent in your field, in your area, get skills as to how you can become more influential. It's very important. Don't just be raw and be so unpolished and be so rude and be so like uncultured, forgive me for that word, but in the way that you communicate your ideas, in the way that you lead people, in the way that you seek to have influence. Don't just be raw and rude. Be someone who is knowledgeable, competent. You have read about it, you have seen it, and you have exposed yourself to that particular thing that you want to better in. And so you must develop some sort of competencies to help you to really make your voice count. People like to listen and follow people who are competent, that are masterful and smart in the way that they think and they deliver, to them. People don't want to follow people who are, they sound hollow and don't seem to know what they're doing. It's not the best. The third C is concentration. Concentration is about when you know what to do, just keep at it. Listen to me again. When you know what to do, just keep at it. Keep hitting that particular sport. Just keep talking to people about that. Keep letting people know that this is what you stand for. Keep selling yourself in that regard. Keep letting people know that this is where you want your voice to count. Sometimes we get distracted because there are so many things that we want to do and that sort of thing, but we are not known for anything. We are not, our name doesn't come up for anything. Nobody calls us for any particular thing. It's just because we may be distracted. We are not really hitting on one particular aspect. Your name must come up for something because you have concentrated on that and people know you for that. People want to hear you about that. People want to see you do that. People want to benefit from you when it comes to that. Concentrate, focus, and you will be very good at making your voice count as a leader. The fourth C is creativity. Tap your creative potential. You have a lot of it buried within you. There are so many things that you can do and do in a fresh, new way. There are things that you alone know how to do them better than any other person. Tap into that. Go in within yourself. Look for better ways to do or say the same thing. People might have said it severally in a certain way. You look for a new way to say it, and it should be more relevant to your time than it was said by other people. Be flexible and always have a new idea to find solutions to problems. So there are several problems that we may have as a country, as a church, as a group, as an association, as a school. But what new way can you attack or arrest those problems? How can you deal with those problems? That is what will really mark you, set you as a leader whose voice is counting. If you don't have any new ideas, if you don't know any way that will be better in handling this situation, then it means that you are not going to make your voice count. Always be fresh in your ideas. Always tap into your creative potential. Number 5, common sense. Common sense. So they say common sense is common, but it's not common to common people. Yeah, you are not just a common person, you are a leader. You are someone who has that position of privilege, that position of authority, that position that people look up to you, that you should do things, you should show us the way. You must apply sound judgment and intuition to situations. Sometimes you may be caught up in several situations that you will not know what to do, but your common sense has been given to you to apply to such situations. Your intuition, it should tell you whether this is the time for me to say this, this is the time for me to get into this is the time to do this, or this is not the right time. Think through things carefully. Think through things carefully before you implement them. Train your mind to be prudent. This is really, really key. Prudence is about making sure that you think before you act. And as a leader who wants to make your voice count, don't just jump into things. Be very prudent. Look at the environment. Seek whether that is what people really want at this moment. And then learn from your setbacks. You may have gone, the first time, it didn't work out, but you must sit back and look at how to make it better the next time. So learn from your setbacks as a leader if you want to make your voice count, and then use your sense, your common sense, your wisdom. The fifth C is consideration. The fifth C is consideration. Develop good people skills. I mean, relationships. Consider others. Don't just think you are an island. You are not an island. Your church, your club, your school, your wherever it is, your political party, the world in general is based on relationships. It's based on people. It's based on how you can consider others and their needs, putting their needs first, being altruistic, trying to see how you can help people. And so you must always, as a leader, don't focus on your selfish interest, how to aggrandize yourself, how to make yourself so rich and then others so poor below you. Make sure that you have developed competencies of dealing with people, of bringing people along, helping them, to help you to make a difference. If it's about training them, if it's about exposing them, taking them places to also see what you have seen, do so in order for them to really help you to reach where you want to reach. Partners will help you make a difference. Don't go on a lone, man's journey. You shouldn't do that because it won't help you at all. It will be very good for you to look at the people around you, your inner circle, and then apart from that, what are the other people who want to follow you, who are listening to you, interested in? What are their needs? What are their felt needs, their passions, the things that they want, from your leadership? That is where you need to make sure that you satisfy, because it will help you to stand out. It will help you to make your voice count. Nobody wants to follow a leader who is not interested in their needs. So that's very crucial. Number 7 is consistency. Have a set of values and principles to live by. Be consistent. Let your life be consistent. Don't have double standards. As a leader, you will be challenged. People will try to test your integrity, your consistency, your ability to really prove that you have certain principles that you're living by. And you must demonstrate that with your strong character. You must be consistent. If you say that this is my principle, this is my way of doing this particular thing, and you know that it is novel, it's good to be flexible, but let people know that the noble objectives that you have set are very critical to you, and you want to see yourself, following those principles. So core values of your organization. Yes, we write nice, beautiful core values of organizations, but sometimes we don't really demonstrate them. So this is where it comes in. If you are a leader and you want to send people, somewhere, you want to guide them, lead them, you yourself must emulate or kind of live the core values of your organization and have integrity to make you remain on track. Because if you lose your integrity, you have lost the people. They won't trust you. They won't follow you again. You won't be dependable. You won't be reliable. And people will always doubt you. And you don't want people to doubt your voice. Once they hear your voice, they want to, you want to feel that, yes, indeed, they have actually, got a leader speaking. And that's very important. Nelson Mandela said something that as I have said, the first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. Great peacemakers are all people of integrity, of honesty, but humility. So, very important if you want to have an impact on society in your sphere of influence, no matter how small it is, you must have integrity. You must have honesty. Integrity is about saying what you mean and meaning what you say. And then also, not always wanting people to be looking at you before you do the right thing, but even in your privacy, getting the right things done. And then you must be humble as well. You shouldn't come off like a very, off-putting person, arrogant, proud, you don't listen to anyone. No. People who want to make their voices count listen to others. They have good, sense of listening. And they always want to let other people's voices also inform them. They should learn from them, and it will help them to be able to also make their voices louder. So listen to people, because if you are echoing the voices of people, if you are echoing the needs of people, people will always listen to you. They will always respect you because you are actually echoing their voices. And then number 8 is commitment. Commitment. Stay true to your vision and purpose in life. Put time and effort to make a difference. Decide how to let your voice count in associations that matter to you. It's very important, because if you're not committed to what your vision is or your purpose in life, you will not put time and effort into it. You will always be distracted. You will not know how to associate with people who come around you, and then the different associations that you belong to. Let everybody know wherever you go that this is your principle. This is what you stand for. This is what your voice is, your significance is, and they will respect you wherever they see you. Don't live double standards, but make sure that you are always committed to your cause. And then the second to last is courage. Confront your fears. Remain focused despite hardships. There will be a lot of things that will make you afraid. People will make you afraid. Circumstances will make you afraid. There will be situations in which yourself, you will be your own, person to discourage yourself. You will have family members who will tell you, no, don't get into this, because we are not like that. We don't talk. We don't let our voices, we don't raise our voices and that sort of thing. There will be situations in which people, it can be your own, family, your spouse or somebody will let you not raise your voice when it comes to something that needs to be spoken about or needs to be done. Sometimes it's very important for you to let them know why you are doing so, why you want to make a difference in that regard, and seek to persuade them, because they may not understand what vision you are pursuing. So confront your fears. There'll be a lot of things that you'll be afraid of. And in the Bible, we've seen several people who God called to do things, but they were scared, they were afraid. Moses was afraid, Jeremiah, and all of those, leaders, Peter, and all of that. They were all scared, but they confronted their fears. God encouraged them, and they also stood, in the face of all the things that they were afraid of, and they did what they had to do. You too, same. There won't be better times. There won't be situations that are, very comfortable for you to make a difference. There will never be, because it's in the rough seas that we see the best sailors. It is not when the sea is so smooth. It is not the better times. It's not the best of conditions that you will see those who are really good leaders. It is in terrible situations. It is a moment of challenge and controversy, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, that you really see leaders emerging. That's when you have to make a difference. Remain focused despite hardships. There'll be a lot of things that will be hard. And then dare to go forward. Always fail forward, because you will fail sometimes. You will fail many times, in fact. But keep moving forward. I failed several times in my attempts to do several big things. And it has never discouraged me, because I know that there are failures that will come, along the way. But I have remained very, very focused, and I've kept moving forward, and I've kept failing forward. Leaders always fail forward, as John C. Maxwell says, and don't stay where you fall. Always rise up and keep moving forward. Now, the last one is confidence. Confidence. That should have been the first, but I brought it last, because in all of the things that you're doing, if you don't have that God confidence, if you don't have that trust in God, your creator, who has endowed you with all the potential, all the skills, the talents, the abilities, all the endowments that you need in order for you to make your voice count, you will not succeed. So have confidence in him that he will see you through all the situations that you have to pass through. Believe that God has given you the potential to do exceptional things, and God will lead you to victory. It's very important. Now, Malala Yousafzai was a Pakistani young girl. And she was advocating for education for young girls, because in their area, or in that particular society, young girls were not supposed to be educated. But she said no. She wanted young girls to be educated, like she was getting education, and she was shot in the head, But she kept on advocating for the rights of children to be educated. And she says that we realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced. Yes, when you're silenced, that's when you will know the importance of your voice. Your voice matters. Don't be silenced. And then she also says, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. Your voice is powerful. You may be one voice in that particular club, that particular association, that particular society, in your sphere of influence, that organization, that company. When everybody is silent, let your voice become powerful. Let your voice be heard, because you are powerful. And Martin Luther King Jr., I've quoted from severally today, says in my last slide, that in the end, we will remember not the words of our friends, but the silence of not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. So people are going to be silent when you want to speak up, but that doesn't matter at all. You should still speak up. You should still do the right thing. You should still lead to let people know what must be done at that particular moment. So the worst of your enemies, people who are going to be talking against you and all of that, yes, people will try to silence you, but in fact, make sure that your friends, the silence of your friends, the silence of the people around you, does not make you also cower to be silent. You must make sure that your voice always is heard. It's very important. And that is the end of today's presentation. I'm so excited that you have been a part of today's presentation. There are several questions that I know you want to ask, and I'll hand over now to Mr. Eyim to continue the session. Thank you very much for granting me your audience for tonight. That's my contact. If you want to contact me for anything, that's my contact. Thank you very much, Mr. Eyim. You may take over.
Thank you so much, Conrad. And I really, truly appreciate your presentation. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you so very much. You've given us so many very beautiful quotations. The quotation of Malala is very, very important, because Malala is just 24 years old. She's the youngest to have received the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
This young girl from Pakistan was fighting for the education of girls. In Pakistan, they will not allow women to go to school.
Yes.
You cannot go out. You have to be accompanied by a man. And Malala, as young as she was, she's not 24, but she was younger then,
Yeah.
started speaking against this. The Taliban or the extremists actually wanted to kill her for advocating for women to go to school. And they shot her.
Mm-hmm.
And critically was almost there. She was flown out of Pakistan and taken to, I think, UK or whatever, and treated. And Google her and listen to her speech to the United Nations.
Yeah.
Young girl standing in front of world leaders.
Yes.
And advocating for leaders to rise up against the oppression of the world and to stand for young people. And he told the leaders that, look, we are watching you.
Yeah.
We, the young people, we are watching you.
Yeah.
And what you are doing, remember that whatever you are doing today, you are going to affect us tomorrow.
Sure.
So please don't just think about yourself and your enjoyment today, but think of us, the young children. Young girl, she stood and she epitomized all the qualities, the 7 C's that Conrad has shared with us. And there's so many young people across the world who are doing that. I'm just saying this to emphasize the point that don't think you are too small to speak up. Don't think you are too too useless, irrelevant to make a difference. All of us together can change our world for the better. There's so many wrongs going on around our society, but who is supposed to talk to those issues? Who is supposed to rise up? You and I. And one of the reasons we set up this platform is to be able to, encourage all of us to stand up. That leadership is not about the leader, it's about the people. It's about how we change the world for the better. And so I want to just thank Conrad and bless God for the lessons that he shared and the powerful quotations he shared. And want to encourage you to chip in and to share your views and your comment. Conrad, thank you so very much.
Thank you, boss.
At this point, I would like Kofi, if you are online, to share with us the leadership journey program. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are running a program on growth, on your personal growth. Some of the things Conrad has talked about: commitment, consistency, courage, character. How do you develop these things so that you can stand on your own? And the growth journey is about you developing yourself so you can come out of those situations of low self-esteem where you feel you're not relevant. You can grow yourself, become strong and courageous, and develop your character so that you can achieve the things God made you to achieve. So I don't know if Kofi is ready. Let's share the platform. If Kofi is not ready, I will go on to announce to see what comments are coming in. All right, so I have a few people have actually joined since we started. Ebenezer Tufo from Abuja is here with us. Enoch Ahin is here. Doris Arthur, thanks for sharing us education. May God keep you safe. And he says he's watching from Accra. Mami Bafo is joining from Holland. Madeline Adjoachumesi is joining from Accra. Benny says good evening from UK. So we have people listening from all over the world. I haven't been here for a while. Thank you for coming back, Benny. Catherine Esiedu from Sugakope is here. Owusu Foster, great. Thanks for giving us this. Foster is happy. Seku Black says he's watching from the US of B. I don't know where the B is. Good evening from Wavo, from Togo. Ross Anderson is here. Wonderful to watch leaders educate with the young generation. And thank you so much, Ross. Christopher Gavo is here. Charles Opon is here. He says, thank you, my boss. I'm listening to you. Moro, Justin, great, highly enjoying your lectures. Elkana Belandia, all the way from Tanzania, and he says, keen to listen to today's topic on how successful leaders make their voice count, and I believe you have. Rita from Suhum, Teresa Sarikuma, good evening, everyone. Kukuvi Antoine, I have joined from Ghana. All right, Willie Blair is here also. He says, glad to hear this wonderful presentation. Martin Intiako Frando is here from Asimfosu. Please, how do we access the slides? You would have the slides. Haja Alima, thank you, always here. Very good topic, challenging. He says, I love all the 10 C's. All right, great. You're wonderful. Martin, wow, I really love the 10 C's. Very, very insightful. Charles Opon, amen. God bless you. Ebenezer, motivational, insightful presentation. We are blessed. All right, Doris Atta say, thank you for encouraging us. I'm really motivated to do more as a leader. Thank you. That is Martin. Mami Bafo, the 10 C's have made me aware that my voice counts. As a leader, I do not want to take my voice for granted. Thank you so much, Mami. Lord Fojo Asante says, excellent presentation. Thank you so much. And Jim Joachim, very inspiring. All right, so any questions? I'm just trying to look for questions for Conrad, but great teacher as he is so clarified the issues. Daniel Papo, I'm watching from Dabala, Volta region. Great. CK, can we have the video? Yes, you will have them. We'll share them. You go to Facebook, go to YouTube, you'll find them. I'm really inspired. Simon John, Siamu Alasan watching from Nust. Good evening, good presentation, Conrad. Owusu Foster loves this. Emmanuel Ataforsin watching from Somalia. Oh, great. Thank you, Emmanuel, from all the way from Somalia. Okay, wonderful. This is really impacting. I'm watching you from Dubai. Oh, today we have people from all over the world watching us. Mark Tony, educative presentation. Thank you. Daniel Papo, Papo, very inspiring. Jim says, I'm watching from Volta region. I have been empowered by the program. Thank you. Moses Dakon is here from Nungwa, and Christopher Gavo. Great presentation. Thank you very much. Akwesi Kankam from the UK is saying many thanks for the wonderful presentation. I thank you for touching the issue of confidence. My question is it is easy to say than actually doing it. How do I gather courage and be confident knowing very well that I stammer? All right, so that's Kankan. He stammers. How does he gather the courage? Charles Ode, thanks, and God richly bless you. All right, Kokovi, great presentation. So you have one question there. God's way. Let me let Kakraba drink some water. He will come back. God's way says, thanks, Conrad. Indeed, leadership is not about the leader, but about people. In Africa, when you speak your mind, you are victimized. Just unfortunate, but let's keep talking and talking. God bless you. All right, so thank you so much, everybody who has made a contribution to this. Conrad, we want you to address the question of Mr. Kankam, and also God's way made reference to our society, especially in Africa, where we are not allowed to talk, especially young people are not allowed to speak. The child must be seen but must not be heard. philosophy has become so prevalent. And actually, this just today or yesterday, there was a discussion on Parliament of all places, and I heard one member of Parliament raising the question of how the president is not respecting the laws, and then the other side says, no, 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 you can't say that about the president. You know, you cannot say that about the president. And I looked at whatever was said, and I really did not know what was wrong, but you can see the sentiment that he's the president. You don't have to say that. And I find this all the time. He's the CEO. Don't talk about it. He's the MD. He's the pastor. So you can't say anything. How do we, with this kind of culture, encourage people to speak up? And as Kwesi Kankam is also saying, he's Thomas. So how does he gather the courage and the confidence to be able to share? So I want you to share a bit of thoughts on some of these things to encourage us and to see how we can do these things. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, boss. And thank you for your questions. It's great to also know that you are watching from all over the world, and we are inspired and encouraged that whatever we are saying, we are not just throwing words into the air, but people are actually watching and getting motivated and inspired. That's the purpose of this program, and I'm very excited to have known that my small lesson was beneficial to everybody who is on the virtual meeting today. Now, so the first question about confidence, the fact that sometimes it's not easy. I mean, the way that we say it, if you have to do it. And he actually brought in the aspect of he's a stammerer, and he doesn't know how to be confident if he has to make his voice count. Well, the very first example that I have to mention is about the US president, the current US president, Joe Biden. He was a stammerer. He's still a stammerer, but he has learned how to speak in such a way that you would not even know that he stammers. Stammering, I mean, I've done linguistics, and I know that stammering has different forms of it. There are some that are physiologically very, very difficult to deal with. Others too, they are learned. You learned, I mean, your stammering from someone that you heard stammer. And so some of these can be treated through speech therapy. And others too, you can improve the way you speak if you practice a lot. And if you are conscious about the fact that, yes, I stammer, and so I need to speak slowly, or I need to do this or that. There are things that have to be learned, when it comes to this particular condition. And so look for a speech therapist. We can also talk backstage after. My contact is there, and you can also search me on Facebook as well, Conrad Kakraba, and then just get in touch. We can talk more, and I can connect you to people who can also help you as speech therapists to be able to improve your situation. And apart from that, if you're not even a stammerer and you have some physical problems, physical challenges, in the previous discussions that we've had on this leadership platform, the example of Helen Keller has come up. I mean, a woman who had multiple physical challenges. She was blind and deaf and all of that, but she's written very impactful books. She's done several things that her name is still, a household name when it comes to motivators and people who inspire change. And there are people who do a lot of things, even in our country here. Our minister, my regional minister, the OT regional minister, is physically challenged, but he has a very impressive profile, and that caught the attention of the president of the nation to give him a position such as that, a regional minister. And there are other things that we can say about physical challenges or physiological issues, but maybe we'll save that for another day. But Even if you don't have any physiological or physical issues, there are things that you need to know. You yourself make sure that you are confident in yourself, because if you yourself you doubt your own ability, that you can't do anything, be confident that you are capable. Be confident that you can also say something that will be beneficial to someone. You can also make a change. And it's not all about speaking. Many people think that when we say make your voice count, it's just about speaking and speaking and being on platforms and talking and that sort of thing. No, sometimes it's about influencing silently through your actions, through the things that you do. There are people that I admire so much because they are not as loud as some of us are, but they influence so silently. They influence in their writings, they influence in the maybe donating to people that are in need, or at church coming to set up the place to make sure that the place is clean and doing things that you wouldn't ordinarily expect people to think that they will be recognized because of what you're doing, but they do it because that's how they can influence. That's how they can make a change. That's how they can make an impact. And so don't always think that we are talking about people who can speak very well, people who are, public speakers. No, that's not what we are focusing on. If you're a leader, you are a servant. How can you serve such that people would look at you and say, wow, I'm so excited because you served in this particular way. You did this for the benefit of others. That's what we are focusing on. And then the second question about victimization of young people, especially. Well, what I have to say is that, yes, we have to live with this reality of our society where people, I mean, young people especially, are not allowed to talk at certain places. Their voices are not heard, or nobody makes a room for their voices. But the thing is that times are changing, situations are becoming different. There are young people that are rising in different spheres, in IT, in politics, in engineering, in business, in religion, in different spheres, in education. And there are young people who are setting the pace, who are bringing up new things, that are leading the way, that are showing the older generation how to do certain things differently. And so you have to really focus on what it is that you really want to use to change the world, to change your sphere, to change your society, to change your corner, to brighten where you are. If it's IT, you may not need to go and be speaking, at places and that sort of thing. That's not what you are gifted to do. It may be about bringing up something innovative. And once it is brought and you demonstrate it to people, you will now be listened to. There is this young guy from Sierra Leone. Is it Kelvin? Kelvin, I've forgotten his other name, but Mr. Yim knows about him. He's spoken to us about him before. And he has really brought out some interesting engineering artifacts, things that are very important in solving problems. And he's a young boy, but because of the things that he's invented, MIT, I mean, Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US has recognized him, and he's been able to do things with them. And that is what we are talking about. Not just about people who talk and talk and talk. No, we're not looking for more talkers. We are looking for people who can do a lot of things. If you're a great talker and it's your voice that you can use, I mean, the voice as in voice, the literal meaning of voice, that's what you can use it. If you are, a compassionate person, Mother Teresa, that we've heard about, she was very compassionate and she went to slums and helped people. She was not such a great talker, but because of how she helped others, her voice counted during her time. And whatever it is that you can do in your sphere, look at others who are doing things. Look at young people who are excelling in their fields, and then get inspired by them. And then also practice, keep practicing. keep doing that same thing and doing it over and over again and become excellent at it, as I said, and you will surely be noticed as a young person. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you are talking about Kevin Doe. Kevin Doe
Yeah,
from
that's
Sierra
it.
Leone at age
Yeah.
15,
Mhm.
became a self-made engineer, developing,
Yeah.
a battery from, taking, if you like, rubbish, going to he didn't have
Yes.
money, he
Crafts.
developed a
Crafts.
battery to
Yeah.
power out light. And today,
Mhm.
MIT, 26, as
Yeah.
26, the whole
Yeah.
world, he goes into MIT to lecture the student as a guest speaker from
Yeah.
Africa. He's 26, just like
Yeah.
Malala is 24 and is speaking to the United
Yeah.
Nations. So
Mhm.
yes, we know that our culture has this philosophy of the child must not be heard, but as Conrad said, is changing. And again,
Yeah.
even our culture also have the proverb that a child
Yeah.
that knows how to wash his hands well eats with adults. So for us, the young
Fantastic.
people who just want to complain that, well, I don't
Mm.
have a voice, I can tell
Mm.
you it is not true.
Yeah.
I started talking to older people as young as from school. It
Yeah.
depends on how you carry yourself and how you develop your character. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like a giving. The world will not just give you a stage for anything if you don't have
Yes.
anything to offer. But if you
Exactly.
develop yourself well, even the elderly
Mm.
would seek your input. Even in our political circle, we've seen a
Exactly.
lot of young people who have been given ministerial positions. Some are doing well, some are
Sure.
not doing so well, but there is the opportunity today. And as Conrad said, today is not just about going to the elderly. You have all the opportunity
Mm.
in social media with internet to
Yeah.
communicate your views. And
Yeah.
about Mr. Kankam's question about stammering, I like the points
Yeah.
that you made. There are so many people with
Mm.
physical disabilities who are doing
Yeah.
wonderful things. One of the person that I talk about a lot is Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic,
Yeah.
just Google Nick Vujicic. Those of you listening on the internet, he has no
Mm.
legs, he has no hands. In fact, when he's
Yes.
going to speak, they will carry him like a toy, a toy
The
or
baby.
whatever, and put him
Mm.
on the table. But
Yeah.
Nick Vujicic is powerful and influential and is speaking all over the world.
Yes.
What matters is find your place, find what you
Exactly.
can do well, focus on that,
Mm.
as Conrad has told us, and
Yeah.
develop yourself in that area. If you are making
Great.
a contribution to the world will listen to you. All right. So thank you so much, Conrad, for that. Let me see. I've seen a few comments more. Um, okay, Nina is joining from Termine. Madeline says, great piece shared. Thanks a lot for this presentation. Bill from Kaswa is here. Josh Sintim, thank you, Bro Kakraba. Please, how do I become assertive without being seen as proud? We are quickly branded too known when you appear to be when you appear a bit different. All right, Conrad. So,
Different. Okay. Yeah.
how do you
Mm.
become assertive without being proud? How do
Mm.
you maintain a difference and still not being branded too known?
Well, that's interesting. So very important, and that goes back to what Nelson Mandela also said, that in fact, all peacemakers, all peacemakers, are people of integrity, and they are humble, they are honest, they are humble, and so it's very important. Humility is not so much of looking so like weak and that sort of thing, but making sure that you still say whatever you have to say with a modicum of respect, modicum of of consideration. As I mentioned, you have to consider the other people, but sometimes you have to make sure that you speak very straight and you hold your guns, you stick to your guns, your position, You have to be flexible, of course, for some compromises, but you have to make sure that if that is the right way to go, that is the thing that you're so convinced about, you be assertive about it and you let people know. Sometimes, as you said, people brand as too known, too knowing. That's the correct thing. We are too knowing. But the thing is that if you know something, as Martin Luther said, if you are responsible for what you say and what you do not say. So whatever you do not say, you are also responsible for it. So don't chicken out and feel that because people are going to brand you as all-knowing or too knowing, you won't say what you have to say. I've had situations in which, I've been confronted by certain challenges, and of course, it demanded that somebody should say something, somebody should speak up, somebody should do something, and somebody should right the wrongs or make things go in a certain way. And of course, there have been people who would say, well, don't do it. It's not you. It shouldn't be you. I mean, you are too fine for that. You cannot be the one to go and rock the boat. You shouldn't be the one to go and, let the situation become murky. No, in the process of change, there will be some unpleasant experiences. As for that, we must be aware. There may be some unpleasant experiences. Sometimes it may go smoothly as we planned, but other times there may be some situations that some people may feel offended. But in the long run, be seeking for the good of that particular group or organization or that society that you find yourself. And so don't feel that you will be branded too knowing. You should still do what you have to do. That's what I have to say about this. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Conrad, for those answers. Now, the point about humility is very important.
Yeah.
And the book that one of the books that Conrad cited, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits that Stephen Covey teaches is first seek to understand, then be understood. Now, when you have something to say and you are saying to people, please first put yourself in their shoes. Try to understand where they are coming from. Now, when we say being assertive, it doesn't mean that, yes, you just go and you think your opinion or your views are the one and only opinion in the world. Everybody else has other opinion. Now, your ability to listen to other people and their opinion and communicating your own, respecting their views is so important to you being understood. So first, seek to understand where others are coming from, and then they would also understand you. But if you just trample over people's views and you think everybody is unwise and you are the only wise person after Solomon, then people are not going to listen to you because you want to be heard.
Exactly.
You want to be heard, guys. I mean, I entered the boardroom. I've been in the boardroom since all my career. I entered the boardroom very, very young, and I've worked with several CEOs. One of the things I've seen is that the leaders actually sometimes they feel very lonely and they need your advice. If you can humble yourself, respect them, and communicate with them in a way that is respectful, they will listen to you. And I've done this for several CEOs. Every CEO I've worked for, I was way younger than them, but they listened to me because I'm not going to come and shout at you, but at least what needs to be said will be said. So that's what I will add to that. The other thing I want to share also regarding to people who feel they have some disabilities and low self-esteem. Now, one of the things we do on the leadership platform is an exercise, and I'm going to share this freely for you here, an exercise which requires you to write 100 positive qualities about yourself. You see, a lot of the time we are looking at our weaknesses, but we have so much more qualities which are positive. If you begin to focus on your positive qualities, just try it. your positive qualities, just try and write 100 of them. You will see that they will overshadow the 1 or 2 that you have been focusing on, and live by your positive qualities. So I want to thank Conrad for that. I think we have a few more minutes for a few more questions or comments. There's a question from Obinson Bright Obinson. He says, I just joined, but I'll go back and watch it from the beginning. Please, I want to know how best a leader can be comfortable and sit back to watch people carry out the responsibilities is delegated to them. I am asking because I found myself doing what I have already asked others to do. This has been consistent with me right from class group assignments. All right. Okay. So how does he sit back, delegate, and allow them to do what he has asked them to do right from group?
I think you can answer that. my boss, please answer that. You are good at that.
All right, let me bring Sarah here on this one also, but this is a very, very important question. Sarah, not putting you on the spot, but if you have something to share, how does a leader delegate and sit back and watch the people? Yes, go ahead.
All right. I think what Bright is saying here is the fact that he wants to be a little bit assertive because he has delegated and people don't do what he has delegated to them. So, Bright, my question to you also is the fact that when you delegate, are these people capable of doing what you have delegated to them? If they are not, have you shown them, held their hands or worked with them to be able to do what you have delegated to them? You work with them, walk along them, coach them to be able to do it, and then you leave them to do it. But if you start always taking it back from them and doing it themselves, they will never learn. So this is just a little bit of a coaching advice that I can give to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, there's another thing is that, if we want people to do things, we start from believing in them. Sometimes we, the leaders, we say we are delegating, but we don't believe they can do it, or we believe we are the only ones to do it. Okay, so believe in them that they will do it because they have the capacity. Now, if every time you delegate, you go back and do it, if you do it once and twice, then you undermine the ability to learn. Because what that means is that they know that this thing that we are going to give you, he will come and do it himself again. So why should we do it? Okay. So let them do it. When I used to work in corporate health, I had a CEO who had a principle. He called it swim or sink. He says the best way to let people learn is to dump them into the sea and let them swim or sink. If you are in the middle and you don't swim out and you're going to sink, it's up to you. And very often he will send people to go and set up branches of the bank in a country they have never been. And then he sends you. He says, go, you can do it. If you are in trouble, you call us, we'll come and help you. But as long as you are there. So yes, go to help them, but don't do it for them. And the other thing too about leaders who are not able to delegate, it's also a sign that you, the leader, you have issues. Okay, if you're a leader and you are not able to delegate, it's a sign that you also have issues and you have to work on yourself. The problem may not necessarily be the people, but with you. So we need to work. You probably will need a coach. You need Sarah, and we need to ask you a few questions about, some of these situations. And then once we go through some of those situations with you and see what happened before you have to jump in, we may find that there may be some areas where you need to work on yourself. And please learn to allow people to do it. Sometimes also you become too perfectionist as a leader. When you're a perfectionist, you also you think that you are the only one who can do it well. But look, the world is not all perfect. Even God, when he made it, after he made Adam and Eve, later on he said he regretted making the human being. So I mean, even God, in a point, regretted making us. So you cannot have everything perfect in all situations. So perfectionism can also force us to be so micromanaging and so on and so forth. So I think that's what I can say at this point. I don't see any more questions. I see Abedonko saying great training. I don't know if Sarah has anything else. Otherwise, I'll give Conrad the last word to give us his closing remarks. But Sarah, anything else?
Yeah, it's been a very great learning experience. And Conrad, thank you for the 10 C's, which I have in this book. I've noted everything I took notes, which I'm going to apply. There are some that I'm applying, there are some that I have learned. So thank you so much. It's been great listening to you. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay. All right. All right. So I think there's a question say, can a leader go to their subordinate to learn? Wouldn't it be a sign of weakness? Well, leaders are learners and they learn from everywhere and everybody. So as a leader, a mark of leadership is to be able to go down and learn. When I used to be company secretary, I'll write my minutes, I'll give it to my secretary to say, read through it and correct my mistakes, and they do it. So I think leaders should be able to learn from everybody. All right. So Conrad, maybe you want to comment on that and give us your closing remarks. We have 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you very much, Conrad.
All right. Thank you very much, boss, and thank you, Sarah, for your comments as well. And so, very important, you have to learn from others. If you're a young person, even if you're an old person, I mean, I have bosses who always appreciate the fact that there is something that they need to come down to us to just see whether they've got themselves in order before they send things out. And sometimes we feel inadequate trying to, help them to do things. But we have learned a principle from them that, see, you cannot be all perfect. You cannot be all right. There is something that will escape your notice. And there is a competence that you have that they may not have. And they will always come to you. And sometimes I feel very flattered, but that is one of the things I've learned. I've had to, go down to people who, my students, just to ask them questions about what I've written or what I've done and all, just to make sure that, I'm getting it all right. If you want to let your voice count, make sure that you let others check through to see whether what you are doing is the right direction. And I'll end with this quotation again that I started with from Martin Luther King Jr. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Don't become silent about things that matter, because that will be the day that your life will begin to end. Thank you so much for hosting me on the leadership platform. Bye.
Right. Thank you so much, Conrad. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And thank you, everybody who has been on the platform this evening. We appreciate you. And we pray that God will be with all of us and that the lessons that we have learned this evening would encourage somebody to be a bit more open, to be willing to stand up and change, make a little change in your world. God bless you. Have a good night. And let us go to church tomorrow to praise God and thank God for our lives and give us the courage to make a difference so our life do not begin to end when we stand silent. Thank you so much, Conrad, and thank you, everybody. Have a very good night.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Oh, I have one MP here who is
Francis.
Francis Xavier Sasu Susu. An MP is here. He says our life begins to end the day that we we are silent on things that matter. So, Francis, thank you for joining the leadership platform. God bless you. Good night. Kofi, over to you.
Hi, dear friend. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm the CEO for the Center for Transformational Leadership. And I'm bringing to you the growth journey. We've set aside 15 weeks of growth to help you to be intentional about your growth. Where do you want to reach in your leadership? Which area of your life do you want to grow in? Growth doesn't just happen. It has to be intentional. So in these 15 weeks, we're going to have special coaching sessions with you to be able to grow to where you want to grow. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. We're going to help you in all and more within these 15 weeks. Every week we'll have a session with you. This program is limited to only 15 people. We're going to have 15 people for 15 weeks, and we're going to learn 15 great growth lessons on this journey. So make a date with us and see you on the growth journey.
Conrad is gone.
Oh, Conrad. We are told Conrad to, I think the other young people have also disappeared.
They are gone?
I cannot see anybody on the call.
Oh, it's Saturday night.
Yes, Kofi has joined.